Alright, my name is Pedro Dahl, and this is for the public speaking class. My UFID is 41661162, and I have like 6 people, so extra credit and the laptop, of course.
Behave, hobby.
Alright, so I'm doing my presentation on the problem with internet service providers. And hopefully I can persuade you all into thinking that we are paying more than we have to, and that the government should cause some changes in the services provided by internet services. So they should step in to change things. All right, introduction. Why you should be paying less for internet right now? Well, we all use the internet, right? We all have phones, and we all need internet at home too. It's very important, and especially in this day and age, the digital age, where you need to use the internet to apply for jobs. You need to use the internet to do schoolwork. You need the internet to do anything, really. And what's not known is that right now, you guys could be paying less than what you are for the speed you have right now on internet, and much less. So you might ask, why am I not? And why am I paying more than I have to? Well, really the thing is, we'll discuss that, but we're going to be focusing on what's the main problem with internet service providers, why you're paying more than you have to. We're going to focus on a solution to what the internet providers can do, or what the government can do to help, and what would be the effects of if we actually implement the solutions I'm suggesting onto the current state of things. So everything in this PowerPoint, I researched myself. It's very informative. It's all from trustworthy sources, so everything I say is true. Okay, the problem with internet service providers. Right now, there are only 2 major internet service providers in the US. They own most of all broadband networks in the US, and those 2 companies are Charter and Comcast. Charter is the main company, but they own Spectrum, which is what most of us have in Florida, which used to be Bright House. So yeah, so PM Mag, a source I looked up, says that Comcast is America's most hated company. And why? Because they offer terrible service, insane prices for internet, and they don't help at all. So what are these monopolies doing that is exactly bad? Well, the thing is, the 2 of them have like a whole system set up where they just play off each other. So they'll split territories, like take major cities for example. Comcast will be like, okay, I'll take Chicago. Then Charter will be like, I'll take New York. And they split them evenly, but they'll never overlap. So they can charge whatever price they want because they have no competition. It's just Comcast and Charter. So right now, internet speeds are way higher. If you did not know, the US pays the most for broadband in the world for internet service compared to like China. And it could be way cheaper than it is. So what other problems do the companies have? Well, the companies also lobby a lot to stop laws from stopping them, the monopolies. They go to the government, the Congress, and they lobby, and these are multi-million-dollar companies, so they have the money and resources to do all that. So that should be stopped. And what has the government done to stop it? Nothing. Right now, the government branch in charge of that would be the Federal Communication Commission, and the FCC for short. The head of the FCC is Ajit Pai. I'm sure we all heard of him. He has recently started net neutrality, which has only helped these companies because they can now charge for any service provided. If they wanted to, they could be charging you for using stuff on your phone like WhatsApp, Snapchat, Instagram. They could make all those apps pay for it. And that's all because of Ajit Pai, the head of the FCC. So, well, my point is the FCC has been going backwards. They've been helping the internet companies instead of stopping them from keeping their monopolies. According to HuffPost, laws were overturned banning internet services providers from sharing or selling private data. So now they could do that legally because Ajit Pai is the head. These are just some of the problems that have been happening, and millions of Americans have no internet because it's either too expensive, or we right now that do have internet are paying more than we have to for the speeds we have. So, what's a solution? Well, a simple solution is if the government would intervene and actually try to stop and regulate more than they're doing now. Instead of helping the companies, they should regulate them more to stop the monopolies. Because right now, Charter and Comcast have no competition. So, what can the government itself actually do to help? They can push local politicians to vote for laws that regulate the companies. They can fund the FCC more, because one of the reasons the FCC stays out of the business of private sector at ISPs is because they have no money. That's a JIT Pie's excuse. Oh, there's not enough money for the FCC to help people pay for their internet. So they can increase funding on that, and maybe even change the head, because the head right now is very for these companies. If you didn't know, a JIT Pie used to work for Verizon. So they could also allow for competition by deregulating laws. So like, there's also no competition at Charter and Comcast. Like, new companies could start up. They can make it easier to get into the internet business. All that is government regulated. So what are some things that have happened too? Solutions that have happened right now. Some cities, because the government has done nothing to stop, have actually created their own city Wi-Fi, which is much cheaper and faster than internet service providers. An interesting case is Chautauqua, Tennessee. The lawsuit, they tried to make their own internet for the city, and Comcast was not happy, so they sued them to try to stop them. But Chautauqua won, and now has internet speeds 200 times faster than was offered before, and for a cheaper price. And now, magically, Comcast has internet speeds competing with them. That was 200 times faster. They suddenly increased their megabytes per second to compete with them. So that shows that they have the internet speed, they could give it to you, but they don't, because Comcast and Charter just regulate speed, so they keep it low, so they only increase it a little bit each year, when you could be having a gigabyte per second right now. According to the Pew Research Center, in a phone survey, over 4,000 people found that 70% of respondents agree that local governments should do something about high-speed networks if offerings are too expensive right now, if internet's too expensive. If you guys didn't know, like in places like New York, basic internet is $60 a month just for basic stuff, and a lot of people cannot afford it. So they choose to go out without any internet. Now, if we actually implement these things, what would happen if the government steps in? We'll have lower costs for broadband nationwide. Everything will go down for sure. Much higher internet speeds for the same price we are paying, or even lower prices. We'll have more options on internet service providers, because if they allow for competition, then it's not just Charter and Comcast and the companies they own. And possible municipal broadband. So maybe the government can also start just allowing cities to make their own Wi-Fi, and we could just avoid this problem altogether from the private sector. If no action is taken, I'm afraid broadband will start being increased in price. These companies will only grow more. A lot of sections, a lot more people will not be able to afford internet. And if no people have internet, less people get jobs, and it just causes a lot of problems, like a downturning spiral. Their story is Karen Bean by PBS News. She was this lady that moved from Ohio to New York. She lost her car and her house and just had a little bit of money and 2 kids. She went to New York and quickly lost all her money, and now she can't even look for a job because she can't afford internet, because internet prices in New York are too high. Her 2 kids have to walk to the public library to do homework every day, and wow, that is not right. So I think the government should definitely step in, and if they do, we'll enjoy all these benefits. So, in conclusion, what is the problem with internet service? Well, they have monopolies all around the US, and you don't have much choice in what you pay. Everyone wants more freedom of internet equality. More people should have access to internet, it should be cheaper. And what is the solution? The government intervenes. They should set regulations, stopping these monopolies, not allowing them to do what they want, set the prices they want, or even make their own city Wi-Fis, which would also stop the problem. The future, lower broadband costs with higher speeds. That could be our future. So pay less than what you are right now for higher speeds. That's the quick solution. And why do I care so much? Why did I choose to do my presentation on this? Because I find it kind of dumb that sometimes I sit at home and my internet is slow, and I'm paying $60 a month too for that internet speed, when it could be way faster if there were not monopolies. What can you do? Well, you're all over 18, so you can all vote and push your local politicians to make regulations on internet service providers. Push for things like FCC, communication, and that's pretty much it. So, do you guys have any questions? Anyone? 1 or 2 minutes? Question? Something you didn't understand, or something about the internet providers? Anything? No wrong questions here.
Why do you think a third company is not already stepping in?
Why do I think there's not a third company right now? Well, because there's too much competition. There's no chance. And a new company would be a business, a new business. And usually new businesses are bought by bigger companies. So if a new company does try to start internet, they can't get to the level of Charter and Comcast in the amount of time they have. So Comcast and Charter will probably just buy them. So that's why there's no third internet service provider. One more question? We have time for one more.
The head of the FCC is appointed or he's voted in?
The FCC, the head is appointed. But
So that's
So
why
you don't-
most of the issues.
But we can all complain and push for, everyone right now does not like a Jit Pie. So it's obvious that he's not well liked by the people, and he's not for the people, he's for private enterprise. That's why the FCC should change their head and should be more focused on the people than the private sector. Jit Pie actually said that he won't interfere with businesses because they know what's right for the people, but clearly they don't because they charge more than what they have to. Anything else?
Thank you, Pedro. It was very informative.
How long is it?
11 minutes.
11 minutes? That's perfect.
Thank you, Adrian.
Awesome.